It's been a busy offseason for Gard and the Wisconsin staff, which hit heavy inside the transfer portal to fill voids left by departing vets like John Tonje, Max Klesmit, and others. Big-time scorers Austin Rapp and Nick Boyd, plus former Gopher Braden Carrington, will help solidify a roster that should be led by veteran John Blackwell and potential breakout star Nolan Winter. All those players and more, part of my sit-down conversation with the Badger boss.
Well, I think obviously you're proud of every group, right? And I think as we've come through this era where the portal has put a transient nature sometimes on your roster, we've been able to retain our core foundation. And obviously this past year's group, John Tonje got a lot of the credit, deservedly so, but the guys that returned that were able to anchor the foundation made it one of the more enjoyable years I've ever had in 35 years of coaching, just because you watched it all come together. But the consistency is a big thing. It's hard to get there. It's even harder to stay there, and we've been fortunate enough over the last 2+ decades to be at or near the top.
Well, that team won 27 games, I think the most since 2017. How did it all, you used the phrase, come together?
Well, it was organic, as most teams do come together. You can't force it together. But I felt even back, in June, when we got together in middle of June of 2024, that there were some pieces there. And obviously, I mentioned the returners were a big part of that. And then you bring in some newcomers, and the returnees allowed the newcomers to really bridge that gap, or help bridge the gap really fast. And then once we got to October, November, and we got into some live game action, you could tell we kept coming closer and closer together. And I think this group just loved playing for each other and with each other, and for what we always talk about, play for what's on the front of the jersey. And this group took great pride in playing for Wisconsin.
You brought up John, and I was kind of struck. I talked to you once during the season and once at the tournament. He had huge games. And I asked you about his performance, and the first thing you said was, well, before we talk about how good he is such a good teammate, and he is just the kind of guy that everybody wants to succeed, and he quietly leads. So what will the Utah Jazz be getting in John Tonje?
They'll be getting, first of all, a great person, a great locker room guy, a great community guy, but also somebody that's just committed to winning. And for somebody that came in with 1 year of eligibility in the 6th year of college, he could have come in with a very selfish, big ego agenda, and he was a complete opposite. He really, in fact, a year ago in June and July, I wondered if he was going to say 10 words together. So he was so quiet, trying to fit in and trying to find his way. But once he got his footing, he really took off. And I think he just immersed himself into the fabric of the team. And he's a winner, and he's a worker. He's in the gym early in the morning. He's in the gym late at night. And like I said, he's a great teammate and a great person.
You lose John, and then a couple of other seniors who were impact guys, and I know have been around your program for a while. And at the same time, we also saw guys who had been in your program take a step last year to becoming much more dominant, productive players. Which among those guys coming back need to continue to make those steps this coming season for you to continue on this stretch?
Yeah, well, I think the big three that are returning are John Blackwell. Obviously, he's testing the waters in the draft, but I think he's probably a year away from being ready for that, but he's had a great spring here with that process. Nolan Winter, obviously a big step for him. He took a big step from year 1 to year 2, and I'm expecting a gigantic step here in year 3. And then Jack Janicki, somebody that joined the program as a walk-on 2 years ago, redshirted as a freshman, which is rare these days for somebody to redshirt, and really was a key contributor for us off the bench. Now he gets that 37 games of experience, takes that into this summer, and is able to catapult that into what, in his case, year 3 should be really, really good.
They made some really good defensive plays that we saw, especially late in the year. And John was something of a known commodity, but I think Nolan was the guy that opened a lot of eyes last year, had that performance in the tournament as well. What is it about his skill set that makes him so versatile and a guy that can do a lot of things for you, especially on the offensive end?
Yeah, I mean, 7 feet and moves like a guard, and the ball comes out of his hands really perfectly all the time. I think for him, it just mattered of strength and confidence, and they were really tied together. So as he goes through the summer here, getting stronger, getting bigger, the confidence he's gained now for 2 years of playing, a year of starting for us, it's the time for him to really take center stage.
Everybody goes into the portal. You're no exception in this one. Austin Rapp's the reigning West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year. Nick Boyd as well, a guy who's shown what he can do. What do you like about the way that they fit into what you want to do?
Well, Nick Boyd, at least vocally and on paper, is as good a leader as we've had in a while. I just like what he talks about. He's won everywhere he's been. He's played in the Final Four at Florida Atlantic, and really that's what he focused on when he wanted to come to Wisconsin. He was like, Coach, I want to get back to another Final Four, and I want to help this team do it. And Austin Rapp, obviously really talented, fits our lineage of bigs. You know, was 6'10", really skilled, shoots it well. So those two, and obviously we got Andrew Rohde coming back home to Wisconsin, transferring from Virginia, and a really skilled wing that can score. Braden Carrington, who played in the league at Minnesota, coming from Tulsa. So we've got a group that's coming together, really, that I like the pieces on paper, and obviously we've got to put that all together starting in June and start getting ready for another year.
Greg, we're all still trying to figure out the portal together a little bit. No one knows. It's always a moving target. What exactly it's going to look like, not just next year, but what it's going to look like next week. So what does that mean from a coach's standpoint and the different roles that you have to play now, certainly than you did when you first took this job?
Yeah, it's changed more probably in the last 3 years than it has in the last 25 that I've been in this. But I think you have to be flexible. You have to embrace it. You can't run from it. You have to run to it, and you have to understand that it is here to stay, and you have to, I think, become comfortable in it. That doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that comes with it, but we've been able to find a way at Wisconsin to find the right people, most importantly, the right people for our program. And we have the right people in our program, and we surround them with our staff and the returners that are coming back. They have a chance to really have a lot of success. So I think staying open-minded to it and understanding you have to continue to change and evolve as we have. We've probably evolved offensively as much as any team in the league compared to where we were, and I think keeping that, that same foundation of what makes us successful at Wisconsin, and then evolving and growing and continue to make yourself relevant in today's world, and obviously the portal is a big piece of that.
It almost seems counterintuitive to say this, but I'm curious as to when you are looking in the portal, how much do you consider a guy and whether he is likely to re-enter the portal based on what you've seen from him in the past or what you gain in just talking with him?
Yeah, I think probably gaining from what you talk to them about is more important than where they've been and how many places they've been, because really we're operating in a one-year window. That's how I look at this, and obviously you want your team to be to hit their potential in that given year, but knowing that they're all in a one-year situation for the most part. So we really try to focus. Years ago, we'd map it 3, 4, 5 years out as we walked players through their various classes as they moved up the ladder, so to speak. But right now, we're really focused on, until it changes, a one-year snapshot and trying to put together the best team we can.